Hello everyone, it's me, SaintShiba, and this is my new series, the RuneScape Library, where I'll be showing off what I've learned from playing the game for over 20 years. I'm going to be taking a look at RuneScape's historic moments and culture, as well as giving out tips, tricks, and hopefully showing you some pieces of the game you did not know about. For this video, I'm going to be taking a look at all of the Missable, exclusive, and discontinued content in old school RuneScape, which you could still find in the game if you've hit the right requirements. There are a bunch of items that you can be locked out of obtaining if you don't meet the stat requirements, or if you've chosen a different line of dialogue during a quest. If you progress far enough into the Song of the Elves quest and have a defense level higher than just level 4, then you'll miss out on some exclusive Ardougne Knight Platelegs. They're only available to players with a defense level below 5 by taking some steel Platelegs to Edmund and having him polish them. This allows one defense pures to be able to complete the quest and have access to Prif. And even if you drain your defense level to below 5, it is still completely impossible to obtain them. This would be a disaster for the dozen or so people like myself who would like to one day fill all of the containers in the POH, like the armor case. Luckily, however, you can still use a set of steel Platelegs in their place, but it is still a nice collector's item that would be nice to own. Maybe one day we could see an update that allows us to polish steel Platelegs after the quest, even if we don't meet the requirements. If you've completed or progressed through the quest A Kingdom Divided, you're locked out of a secret side quest. Once you complete a Client of Kourend, you're able to use some wolf bones on Veos. He will then ask you to put them away as it reminds him of his old pet wolf named Copper. The lore of the quest goes like this. Veos was travelling with his pet wolf on the mainland near a tribe of Fremenniks when a group of feral foxes ambushed them. Veos fought back alongside Copper, who ended up getting wounded. And when asked what he did about it, Veos says that he ran away like a coward, but then searched for days afterwards attempting to find his collar. He then sends the player out to do the job for him, where you have to kill some foxes until Copper's crimson collar drops. Once you return it, Veos says that he can't thank you enough. There is no reward, but to know that to him it means so much, and perhaps in the future he can repay you. As it stands though, there is still no reward. There is also some more unique dialogue that is no longer accessible after A Kingdom Divided as well. If you use the Corret's memoirs on the housekeeper of Kourend Castle named Alyssa, and you have obtained all 6 hidden pages, then you'll be able to ask her for some additional information. She'll talk about how Princess Rose was supposed to take the throne, but she was shipped off and labelled as crazy, and that the hidden messages contained within the memoirs are likely a trap. And once you've completed A Kingdom Divided, the memoirs are upgraded into the Book of the Dead, and so the dialogue is no longer available. During the quest Haziel's Cult, you'll receive either the Carnelian Armor or the Haziel's Mark, depending on which options you chose during the quest. The Carnelian Armor is an identical copy of the red plate body from Castle War's reward shop, but the Haziel's Mark is completely unique. Of course, there are also some parts of quests that have other permanent choices too that determine certain events and dialogue. Some are obvious, like taking sides during the Shield of Arav quest or the Temple of Ikov quest. But one that you may not be aware of is the Cold War quest, which has a permanent outcome. During the quest, you will hand in a mission report to a KGP member inside the Ardougne Zoo, at which point the reward will be different depending on whether you've completed the quest's Enlightened Journey and or Between a Rock. If you've completed one or both of the quests, then you'll let the KGP member know that you've learned how to fly, which will show crazy penguins learning how to fly themselves by the Penguin Agility course, one with a hot air balloon and another trying to fly into the air with a cannon. If you didn't complete those quests before handing in the report, then those penguins are replaced with just plain wooden platforms. And even if you complete the quests in the future, the wooden platforms are still there and you'll permanently be unable to watch the crazy penguins. There's a few items that you can keep on your account by performing a drop trick. The first would be a set of silver items after the Murder Mystery quest. They're not really usable for anything, but you are able to equip the unique silver necklace. Another is the crystal pendant during the Regicide quest. If you have this equipped or it's in the bank, then it'll be removed when you speak to Lord Iorwerth or King Lathas, but performing a drop trick allows you to keep it. Once you get your first 99, you have an untrimmed skill cape, but once you get another, it will automatically become a trimmed one. You can keep it untrimmed though by dropping it and performing a telegrab on it after getting your second 99. And there's also some other methods like storing it in Death's Office and the Chambers of Xeric raid storage. There are some exclusive items that only a handful of players in the game have access to. The first is the Holiday Tool. This is an item spawner that was given out to select content creators, clan leaders, and people hosting events in free-to-play by JMods. It was first given out during the introduction of free-to-play worlds, which, if you didn't know, back at the release of Old School, only member worlds were available. This tool would then be used to spawn free-to-play starter packs, which is now considered a discontinued item itself. If you picked up one of these starter packs, you could only have one in your inventory at a time, and the packs contained a good amount of early game items to get people started on their journey. The Holiday Tool would spawn 10 of these starter packs at once and could be done 20 times per day. The reason it's called a Holiday Tool though, is because during the holiday events like Christmas, it can also spawn 20 sets of items like Santa hats and party hats. Again, this is only available to the content creators from 2014, making it one of the most exclusive discontinued items in the game. Considering how many new content creators have come into the game since then, it would be really nice to see Jagex hand these out again. The PVM Arena is an exclusive area of the game that was used in part during the 2015 Clan Cup. Only a tiny amount of players were given the permissions to enter the arena, and even though the event ended in January of 2016, the permissions were not taken away. Meaning the activity can still be started today if 2 players with permissions entered the lobby, and anyone in their clan would also still be able to play the game. You can find a portal to this old event in the building north of Edgeville Bank, which you can still enter, and it makes for a great hide and seek location. The event worked by having bosses spawn in cycles, and the teams would have to try and kill as many bosses as possible on a 60-minute timer. If you died during the activity, you'd spawn in the lobby and you couldn't rejoin. And in 2014, the map for this event was completely different, and it meant that players could safe spot the bosses. So for the 2015 version of the map, it was made square to prevent this. Another item that is currently missable and discontinued are the League trophies. If you didn't participate or get enough points during a league for a trophy tier, then they're completely unobtainable for those who do not have them. Personally, I think this is kind of a shame, and it's really the only item I'd care about having on my account, and maybe in the future we will see reruns of these events or a permanent league world, like we do for quest speed running and Deadman. Although I'd guess that most people wouldn't be a fan of that, so let me know how you feel about that in the comments. There are also a bunch of permanent changes to the game if you hit certain requirements during other limited time events. Jack, Jeff and Jill are located on Musa Point, and they're only visible to players who froze all of the Gublinch during a 2013 Christmas event. If you failed to save Jarvis at Camp Sapphire Lagoon during the 2017 Halloween event, then you can find his grave in the Lumbridge graveyard. It's not visible to those who didn't take part during the event, or for those who ended up saving Jarvis. And so, in place of Jarvis's grave, there is instead a bush. And also, when you get a medium clue step asking how many graves are in the Lumbridge graveyard, the answer becomes 20 instead of 19. Some NPCs around the game have unique permanent dialogue if you took part in certain holiday events. I'd explain each one, but it would become a little bit repetitive, so I have them up on screen. One worth mentioning is if you talk to Luthus during the 2021 birthday event, you permanently unlock some unique dialogue, which is a little bit strange because he wasn't part of the event, and so it was optional and slightly hidden in the first place. Another piece of missable content is Adventurer John's Adventure Path system. To unlock this, you must have told the Gillinor guide at the beginning of Tutorial Island that you are a new player or a player that has played in the past. He sets various tasks for the player and rewards them with some starter items for completing them. Something quite interesting about this NPC is that if you're an Iron Man, you may not have even known this guy existed. He's invisible to all Iron Man account types and is only available to main accounts. There are some more discontinued items that some accounts in the game may have on their account, so let's quickly go over some of them. Keep in mind they are all untradeable. Back in the day when you would receive a clue casket, it would instead sometimes not have a reward inside of it, but another clue. This was changed in July 2016 to the reward caskets that we know today. But if for some reason you kept hold of a clue casket before this update, then you have one of the rarest items in the game. Some bird nests and nest boxes are discontinued because of the seed drop table from them being updated for one reason or another. The Makeover voucher was a reward from Recruitment Drive. One of the knights would explain that no man could beat them, so male characters had to switch to a woman in order to beat him. It would cost 1k GP to switch, and so the voucher worked as a refund. This part of the quest has been changed by Jagex as part of their diversity and inclusion update. The Makeover Mage will now switch your gender free of charge too. Side note, you can buy a Yin Yang amulet from the Makeover Mage for 100 coins, which a lot of people don't even know exist. In a postbag from the Hedge from 2006, the Makeover Mage explains that they found the amulet after killing a nest of now extinct Gazuli birds. The amulet has the magical powers to allow the Makeover Mage to change people's genders, but the ones that they sell are non-magical copies crafted by Doric. There's also a couple of other NPCs around the game who also wear them, being Joshua, a competitor at the fishing competition, and the painted one in Slep. Or Sleep, I've never known how to pronounce that. It's unknown whether they are the non-magical copies or not. Maybe they have the powers to change everyone's gender too. Anyway, back to discontinued items. After the 2013 Thanksgiving event, players had their cooked turkeys automatically turned into rancid turkeys. The update also made it so that rancid turkeys were unable to be banked, so if for some reason you wanted to keep this discontinued item, you'd have to always keep it in your inventory. Which does raise the question of how many of these rancid turkeys exist in the game, considering players would have to keep hold of them for 13 entire years. When the Dragon Hasta was added into the game, you could put Karambuan poison on top of it like any other Hasta. However, these Karambuan tipped Hastas were tradable, unlike the regular version. So, an update automatically made them untradeable. However, if you had a noted version of the Poison Hasta, they would be turned into noted fake Dragon Hastas. The fake Hastas were then given a convert option that would switch it into the real item. Various old minigame currencies and rewards are also discontinued, like Pieces of 8, which used to be the currency for Trouble Brewing rewards. The old Agility Arena tickets, which were used for rewards at Brimhaven, Wintertot supply crates, and just like the Dragon Hasta, there used to be tradable packs of soft clay. The noted version, just like the Dragon Hasta, became the discontinued version. Pharaoh Scepters also used to only contain 8 charges, and scepters in players' inventories were automatically upgraded to the new version, but any left in the bank were not. The Pumpkin Pie was a 2021 Halloween event item, but was mistakenly made tradable and so could be listed on the Grand Exchange. So, when pies were removed from the game, any uncollected Grand Exchange offers remained. This is the exact same scenario for the item called Not Meat, which was dropped from the Sabertooth Kebits, which, as of this video being created, is the most recent discontinued item. And that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoy this new format as much as me, and hopefully you learned at least one new piece of information, which is the goal of this new series. If you would like to help me out with this and you have some extremely obscure or interesting information, then join my Discord or message me on X. If you're interested in Missable content, then chances are you'll really enjoy my completionist series, where I try to complete as much of the game as possible before I die in real life, which will be on screen. I'd also like to thank my channel members, who I would argue are the best people on the planet. At the supporter tier, Kyle Henry, Scooter McGavin, Tom, Siotos, and Henrik the Epic. And at the benefactor tier, Crimson and Dustis. Thank you all so much.